Hello everyone, so today we will see how to set up Spring project using Spring Initializer. Spring Initializer is a web-based tool that helps in generating a basic structure of Spring Boot project. Okay, so let's see how to set up a Spring Boot project using Spring Initializer. So our first step is to access Spring Initializer tool using this URL. So let's see this URL, then we'll come back here again. So this is a Spring Initializer and it's a very nice easy tool. Okay, so here in this we have to select a project type of language, version of Spring Boot, small details about project metadata, what all dependencies we want to add in our project. Okay, so these all we have to give this information to Spring Initializer so that it can generate a Spring Boot project for us. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so first of all we have to access this URL, and on Spring Initializer tool we have to select type of project. So it will be Maven project, language is Java, and the version of Spring Boot. We always select the latest version of Spring Boot. I would suggest never select a snapshot or milestone version because they are not complete. Sometimes they are not compatible with the other plugins. Also provide necessary here we have to provide necessary details regarding project metadata such as project artifact, project name or group name. We also add required dependencies like web, DevTools, security, JPA, JDBC, whatever we want in the project. We have to add those dependency. Only then Spring Initializer will create a proper structure for a Spring Boot project. Okay. Once this is done, we will generate and download the project and import it in Eclipse as an existing Maven project. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So here in Spring Initializer we have selected project type as Maven, language is Java, and the version of Spring Boot, that's the latest version. And in project metadata, select the type the group name whatever you want, like I want my tech notes, it will be my group name, and artifact will be first Spring project. Okay, so here the project name will be first Spring project and package name will become com.mytechnodes first Spring project. We'll leave packaging and Java as the default. Now in dependencies, we'll see all of these are dependencies that are available in Spring Initializer. So whatever suits your requirement, you have to select it. Okay, so for now we are just looking at how to set up a Spring MVC project in Eclipse. Okay, so we are selecting Spring Web. Spring Web comes up with the Spring with many different kind of plugins, like it includes RESTful apps, applications using Spring MVC, Apache Tomcat. Okay, so here we have selected Spring Web as dependency. This is the only dependency that we want to add as of now. Okay, now click on generate. So as soon as we click on generate, it will prepare a zip file for us. Okay, and it will get automatically downloaded. So just open the folder where it has downloaded, and I will copy it and put it where I want to store it. So here I will open it and unzip that file. Okay, so now we have first Spring project downloaded. Okay, so now the task that we have to do, we have to import it in Eclipse so that we can start working on it, right? So basic structure is ready as per Spring Initializer. So click on file, import existing Maven project, select the directory, so it is first Spring project. Okay, select folder. So as soon as you click on first Spring project, okay, we will see pom.xml. So that means This is a Marvin project. Click on finish. Here you can see that it is configuring it. Okay, building. Now it's done. So this is the first Spring project. So if you want to walk through this project, so let's do it quickly. So here we have a Java folder. So inside Java we have first Spring project application.java. So this is launch file. So in Spring Boot, if we want to launch our project, we have to execute this file. So this is has annotation of Spring Boot application of Spring Boot. Under Marvin dependency, you will see all the embedded jars in it. All of these jars have come up through Spring Boot starter web dependency. Okay, so like we have selected only one dependency. So if you open pom.xml, you will see how many dependencies are there. So only one is there because we have selected only one dependency right now, that is Spring Boot starter web. If you in future, if you want to add JPA, so you can instead of generating a new project, you can add a new dependency here, like dependency. Okay, so if it is dev tools, right? Okay, alright. So you just have to add a new dependency tag there. If you want to add JPA, so you have to change the artifact ID, okay, and group ID for that. So that's how you can add more dependencies without generating a new project. Okay, so now this is a basic project structure. So what all you can see that this Spring Boot starter web, it has come up with Spring Boot starter web jars, Spring Boot auto configuration jars, logging jars, Tomcat embedded server in it. There is a embedded Tomcat server also. Okay, Spring Boot starter Tomcat. So all of these dependencies are already available in the project, so you don't need to manually install these plugins and set up them, configure them in your project, like we were doing this earlier in Spring Framework and Spring Embassy projects, right? So in Spring Boot, you don't need to do this. Okay, and Spring Initializer make your life very easy. So that's how we have set up our first project. So now let's execute it. So go to your launch file, that is first Spring project application.java. Right click on it and run as Java application. So it will take few seconds to compile and execute. So here, see, you can see on console it is running. It is saying starting Tomcat service, starting servlet engine, and Tomcat has started at port 8080 with. Okay, so application is up and running. We can access it. So let's go to our browser and try to access it. No HelloWorld. Okay, so see, right now we are not returning anything. There is no return response from our project right now, so it is just up and running. So that's how we can see it. Let's go back to console and validate it that application is running fine without any error. So you can see that we have accessed the localhost URL. It is saying initializing Spring Dispatcher servlet, and it is completed initialization in 2 minutes. So that's fine. 2 milliseconds. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, so now let's see how can we generate a response from our project. So let's class hello world controller. We'll update the package name also. So let's see, finish. So it has created a new package and a new class. So first of all we have to annotate it so that we have to annotate it as REST controller so the server knows that it's a controller. And then we will write a method that will return a response. Public get mapping string get hello get message. Okay, so it is return hello world exclamation. And in get mapping we have to write down a URL by which what will be the URL when we have to execute this particular method. So when our URL is localhost / hello world, so this get message method will execute and it will return hello world as a response. Okay, so let's execute it. I think I need to restart the server because we don't have DevTools as of now. So now you can see I have accessed localhost 8080 hello world, so it has returned hello world as an output. Okay, so our first class is up and running. Okay, our first hello world application is up and running, so you can change it hello world first Spring Boot project. Now save it. Now let's see if it accept this change or not. So it is not accepting. Now again we have to restart the server. Okay, if you don't want to restart the server every time you do a change, you want your server to get automatically restart or update by itself, so we have to add a dependency that is DevTools in it. So let's see, let's access the hello world URL. So hello world first Spring project, so yay, it is up and running now. Now let's see, I was telling you how to, okay, now let's focus on hello world only for now. Okay, so this is our first hello world controller. Now if you want to send a parameter in your URL, okay, so you can also do that. So in that case, if the URL will be ID, so say if you want to see hello world JSON, okay, you are returning here. So if you want to send a URL like this, hello world JSON or hello world James, okay, so and you want to see output as hello world James, So that can be done through parameter handling. Okay, so here we have a parameter id. So inside that we have to define a path variable string id. Okay, and you have to return a bean. HelloWorld bean and pass the parameters as message and your parameter name, that is id. Now HelloWorld bean is not there, so we have to create it. So let's create this class under the controller itself. Okay, finish. Now we have a class HelloWorld bean. Now let's define the parameters. Private string message, private string id. Okay, now generate the getter and setter. So right click, first we generate a constructor using fields. Okay, so without constructor it's very important to generate a constructor. Without constructor this bean will not execute. Okay, now generate getters and setters for both methods. Okay, this is done, and we also need one more method, that's toString. Okay, so we are done, our bean is ready. One more important thing is that we have to tell that it's a bean, right? So for that, okay, so now we have a bean and controller ready with us. Okay, now let's restart the server. So our server is up and running. So now let's try this. First of all, we'll access HelloWorld. Okay, so we are getting HelloWorld's first Spring Boot project. Now we want to pass some parameters in it. Say HelloWorld James. Okay, so it should return. Okay, let's see what is the problem. HelloWorld bean. Oh, we did not save it. Now we have saved our changes, and now I'm again restarting the server. So let's go back again. Let's access HelloWorld first. What happened to this? Oh, I'm sorry. I changed HelloWorld also. I should not have done that. Return hello world. Okay, string, and this is another method. Okay, so now it should be fine, but we have to again stop the server and restart it. So our server is again up and running. So now let's access this URL once again with hello world. I did forgot to remove the parameters. Now let's try once more. So now it is fine. We are getting back our hello world. So when we access this URL localhost 8080 hello world, so at that time it is hitting this particular method public string get message, because here get mapping is matching the URL, that is localhost 8080 slash hello world. Okay, now our next URL will be with some parameter, so at that time it should hit this particular method. Okay, so hello world James. See, so now we are getting our response in JSON, that is message is hello world and ID is James. Okay, if we change it to something else, say ABC, right? So it will change it to ABC because that's a parameter. So it is accessing this URL, hitting it to the matching URL and hitting the method that has this mapping of URL. Okay, so path variable is reading the parameter, and in hello world bean we are accessing the parameter and generating a response. So a response is hello world bean, so it is returning message and ID. So see, we have defined message and ID here, so it is returning that and we are getting the response. It's a JSON format, so that's easily readable and you know what's going on in your project. Okay, so that's a basic Spring project, boot project, that we have set up using Spring Initializer in just 30 minutes as of our first Spring Boot project that we have generated using Spring Initializer. Okay, so in our next video we will see how can we add more dependencies in pom.xml. Thank you. Bye bye.